everyone, this is Tyler Heavens coming to you from Women's RX headquarters. I'm gonna bring you the best information that I possibly can regarding dating and lifestyle. And always remember, never settle for less. You deserve better. Today, we're discussing is the concept of settling. Should women settle? Should you just look at your cards and say, I'm gonna settle? To be perfectly honest with you, even though in the manosphere and in Red Pill and MGTOW, when they ever ask about that, they will always say that a woman should settle because your options go down as you get older. The thing that they don't really understand when they say as you get older you need to settle because you get less options is the fact that where do options come from? No joke. So let's say you're a woman, let's say you're 38 to 48, around there, and then you go on vacation to Bahamas. Now you're on vacation, you're feeling body positive, you're looking for new experiences, and right around the pool you run into a guy that you think looks cool. I think that if a woman sees a guy that she likes, she should walk by him and take a mental note. And then wait about 20 minutes, go get a water or a drink or a juice, and then find a way to walk by the guy again to get attention. And I know that you women don't want to walk up and initiate a conversation. So what we're going to do is find a way around that, because I am the king of finding ways around that, whatever that may be. Walk close to him and see the way he's walking, but somehow maybe get your elbow to hit his back or brush his back or trip on a towel right in front of him, and then he will have to respond because men are conditioned to respond, particularly to if we feel that we hurt a female. He'll stop and he'll say, oh, I'm so sorry, are you all right? And that's when you gotta go in there and say, no, my ankle really hurts. And then he'll go, oh, I'm so sorry. And then you ask him to help you up. So now you get body contact. So he grabs your hand, lean in for a small hug, just like a small kind of, get close thing. Then you say, I was actually joking, my ankle's not hurt. Or maybe ride that out, because that could be your way into a greater conversation. But as you can see, just now I said that there's ways to meet guys, that you don't have to actually come across as trying to meet them. This one, it's called Clumsy Girl. Clumsy Girl can completely work at theme parks, concerts, lots of places, heck, a bus stop. But that's the point though, it's like find your angle, young ladies and middle-aged ladies and older ladies, find a way in. And it doesn't matter how old or young you are, because you are both old and young. You are. At the same time, a little while I was hanging out with my cousin and a few of his friends. They were quite young. They were like 12 to 15, and I got like at least a decade on all of them. And I felt old. Then, the next weekend, I was hanging out with the group of friends I had in high school, but they were already in college, and they always called me Young Stud, because I was very young compared to them. So don't think about your age, and that's no reason to settle, because you won't be able to find a man. Don't need to settle because you're worried that nobody will come. If you continue to worry about things, you'll spend all of your time paralyzed. You'll never move again. You'll never talk to a stranger again, and you'll feel bad about yourself. And the only person who should never feel bad about you is you. Because if you're gonna feel bad about yourself, I have two ways to address this. The first one is you're a goner, because you're not even putting your coins into your own cavity. You're not looking at yourself as having high worth, because you do have high worth. No men, because you do have high worth. It doesn't matter how old you are, and it doesn't matter exactly what you look. Another thing which I constantly say is this: you show me a woman, give me a couple days, and I will come down and give you a guy that will go on a date with you. That's what women have. That's the secret Santa that women have. You just got to be a woman. I can find you a guy that would be quite happy. Now, if you like this idea or not, you should probably try it. But fact of the matter is this: if you like the guy that you meet, try to turn it into a somewhat relationship to start, but try to keep it a little casual just to get to know the guy. A lot of people on these fronts, these fake faces, these facades, where they pretend they're somebody but they're not. So usually it takes at least 2 or 3 months to find out who that person really is that you're dating, because he's not going to be the same person that he was when you guys were on your first date with him. And you ladies know that you have gone on dates with guys that seem like Mr. Handsome for a week, but then they start to get, let's say, very, very possessive, and they're asking questions about where you are all the time. I know you ladies get that all the time.
time, because that's just a fact. Women do it as well, but I actually think that men do that a lot more. Because men, I do think, are a little bit more insecure. That's right, I said it, insecure. So what you don't want to do is settle. Let me ask you another question. If you're listening to this, there's a big chance that you're single, or single with kids. That's cool. Maybe you're single and divorced with kids. But that's not the point. The point is, right now, if you're at home, single, alone, okay, let's discuss this. You're a single woman. What age does not matter, but you don't have a roommate, a boyfriend, a husband, or any children, and your friends aren't around that much because they are maybe with family a lot more. And that's a fact that when you do have friends that get married or have kids, you do see them quite a bit less. They still love you though. Guaranteed they still love you. But you're home, you're watching TV, you're watching The Bachelor, and you're feeling kind of depressed and a little weepy-eyed because you feel like that you're missing out on that marriage, relationship, boyfriend, who knows. This is the thing about this. Let's say that you did meet a guy that night, you dated for a month, he love bombed you so severely that you didn't even mistrust his action. And then he moves in after a month, so you still really didn't know him. And things are actually still cool for 3 months. But then things begin to biodegrade. And it's nobody's particular problem. You didn't do it, he didn't do it, but things aren't just exactly working out. And you have different schedules, which can crush any relationship. So you're not necessarily sleeping together at the exact same times all the time. Or he snores. Or you found him so exciting at the time when you first began to date, but it turns out that he overindulged in things like food, he underindulged in smelling good and dressing right, and also it's just you kind of felt like things were running behind and you lost that like deep loving feeling that you did have, because that can happen. You move in after 1 month, 2-3 months later, you don't even like being in the same bed as the guy. And he snores and he leaves crumbs on the bed that gets stuck around your back, and he'll like turn on the reading light at nighttime randomly, but you gotta work at 7. All of these things just build you up into a person that is just not very happy with that relationship, because now you're living with him, so you can't just escape. Maybe you could sleep on the couch. I wouldn't recommend going and sleeping on the couch because it was your bed and it still is your bed, so you might have to ask him to sleep on the couch because you don't want the reading late nights and the light and the crunching of the crackers and the crumbs all over the bed. It's just driving you insane. Now, why am I going on and on about this? Because this is the kind of thing that will drive you insane on and on. So now you can look back when you were single and you didn't have a husband or a boyfriend or a live-in boyfriend or a fiance, and you can't even just sleep when you want, eat when you want, without being tied up with his loose ends. So you don't want to be caught up in his loose ends. That's just awkward. And now you look back when you didn't have the man in your life, but your apartment or house or place you live, that was your place. And now it's being shared, and he's a man, so he makes a larger mess. He's not doing his laundry as much. He's let his diet go bad. He stopped going to the gym. He's reading at night. He's taking far too many liberties that you're comfortable with. This is why you can't settle, ladies, because you will end up in a relationship that makes you want to run the F away. That's why you can't settle, because you will end up being worse off. At least you have hope when you're single. When you're single, you have hope. You can think, technically I could start going to the gym more often, or this coffee place, or a bookstore, or just the mall, or retailer, and do things that I'm gonna say. The first one that I told you already was walk around to scope the place to look for the guy you want, okay? Just like the pool. And then you find him. So then you stop and you're just kind of looking to see where he is. My solution was to walk up close, kind of, oops, you hit your shoulder on his big manly shoulders, and then you fall down a little bit. He apologizes. You start the conversation right there. And that's a great idea. Now let's talk about being at a mall. Any mall. We can discuss what to do regarding being at any mall and trying to meet a guy there. Go into a bookstore. Pick up one if you like, but or not, who cares? I think we both know that this is not about a book. It's about meeting a man. So walk kind of sideways and then nudge him again with your elbow. Oh, I'm predictable. Get used to it. I'm going to give you girls tons of advice, and a lot of it very repetitive. A lot of it very useful, and it works. So you kind of do the thing where your arm kind of taps his, and then you drop your book on his feet, and then you go, oh no, that was my favorite book. That'll make him feel guilt. During the first one, he felt guilty because he hurt your body. Now this one, he feels guilty because you damaged the book that you were holding in the store. Can you see where I'm going here on how to give yourself the prompt to meet the guy and then how to do it? Because I think a lot about this, and I think a lot about women having, what is it called? I think about women having a good level of agency in themselves. Now, maybe you all aren't as familiar with what that terms mean, but if a person has a sense of agency, it means that they have to put in the work to get things to begin, to get things to mid-level, to get things finished. You can't just sit on a bench and the hottest guy that you've seen all week just sits down and then just do nothing. What you should do is look at the book title and then look at him and say, that'll probably waste your time. And then he'll go, oh, hello? Okay, now talk about it. Or even if you don't know the book, say the same thing or say this. Hey, I love the author. Did you just buy this book? Or, hey, that book's a classic. Have you finished reading that book yet? And he will say, oh, no, not yet. Or just got it, whatever. Say, oh, it's great. It's great, you know? Yeah, so, and then what would you say next? Got it. Would you mind if I see the book for a minute? And then they say, okay, so the dude's like that. And you being the woman has the book now. Open up the book to the last page, read a little bit of it, scan through it, and say, do you know what it says on the last page? And he'll go, no. And then you say, do you want me to tell you? And then he says, that would ruin the book for me. And then you say, well, now that I know that, I have an idea. You take me down to the food court, get me some frozen yogurt, and I won't ruin the book for you. There you go. Now, in a perfect world, would that work? It's possible. But could that work in real life? It's possible. I'm a guy that has no fear with this stuff. Because let me tell you the worst thing that I think about, which is not actually the worst. If you try to pick up a guy, or if I try to pick up a girl, and the girl says no, and you're never going to see him again, well, then it doesn't matter. They have no value to you. They have no added value. So if you try to meet some guy that you find very cute, and he looks smart, and there's other characteristics that make him appealing, even if he doesn't take your bait and let you go out with him for yogurt or whatever you want to call it, ice cream, whatever, it does not matter. If the guy says no and you're pretty sure that you're never going to see him again, it doesn't matter. It was stressful at the time. You put in the work to try to meet the guy. That means that you're good because you're trying, and just ask anyway. Tons of times the guy will say yes. I've tried this quite often with women, and know what? It actually works quite well because it's non-threatening. It's in public. The guy's not with a female. So therefore, there's a very strong chance that you will get him to at least go to the food court with you, and going there, you have some chit chat. And then if you feel really strong about it, ask for his number or his IG or whatnot, or just go through to the food court and then just hopefully things turn into a short meet and greet. It's absolutely important for all of you women to not settle. Do you want to be waking up in a bed with a guy that you can't stand, who ate your snacks while you were gone, or left laundry around, or he forgets his chores and duties because we all have them, or you just find him bland and he's not attractive anymore and you don't know how to get out because he moved in? When you're single, you think the worst thing is staying single. And when you're stuck in a relationship where you feel like you're landlocked, that's the problem. So being single is a gift. Every one of you I know knows that you have had a girlfriend or a friend or a parent or an aunt or a cousin who's talked to you about, my relationship is great when we started, but these days, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, things were great, but I just want to get the hell out. I want a divorce. I want to leave. I want him to move out. I don't want to be in a romantic love with him. And we haven't even had romantic love in the longest time. It's basically, I can't sleep at night because he's reading late or playing video games really late. He tries to eat in bed all the time. He eats the food foods that I buy that he knows that I want? Is that the guy that you want? Or would it be better to just pass on the one that you don't want? Fear. Fear is your worst enemy. Fear is your worst enemy because it'll make you do things that you shouldn't do because you will think that things could just get better. But the truth is though, and I hate to say it, but it's just for me too, and you ladies, things are always better. The grass is always greener on the other side. So no relationship is perfect. I urge you women to seek out a guy and try to meet guys. And do talk to guys. Talk to guys who are cashiers. Just anybody. Just to get used to talking and doing mild flirting. Just mild flirting. Women should all be masters of mild flirting. It's body language, it's small touches. If you just reach out and grab his hand or arm or his shoulder, compliments. Nothing will come to us without putting something into it. Now then a person can say, well, no, that's not true because I was out and I just met a person. And it's okay, why did you go out? They say, well, it was a nice day and I wanted to go for a walk. Oh, so you didn't go out for no reason. You went out because you wanted to see how things were outside, and then you managed to land a really good guy. I don't want you women to think that you have to settle. You do not have to settle ever. Don't go on a date and during the date you're like, I don't like this guy at all, but I don't know how to get out of the date. On my last video I said, make it a coffee date. So if the guy sits down and he's skinny like a rail, but he still has man tits and his hair's all just a mess and he has screwed up tattoos on his face and his pants don't even fit or they're sagging and you can see his butthole crack and his shoes don't even match. Yeah, just get the hell out of there. There's way worse things than being single, ladies. Way worse things. And know what? There is a truth to things always come when you're not looking for it. However, let me add to you what that really means. You only meet men if you go out somewhere. Because you're not going to meet men in your apartment, condo, house, shack. There is no men there. You need to go out to places. I used to make it a point for me to go out for at least 2 hours a day, 3 days a week, and approach women just on the street at corners and whatnot. That worked well for me because I kind of have a gift of a gab and I'm pretty easygoing and I don't look like a person who's aggressive. And I am, like I said, pretty mellow. So that did get me to meet girls. And I did get girlfriends out of that. Yeah, just like that. So, put yourself out there, never settle. The second a person says that you should settle, all they're trying to do is bring down your self-esteem so that you feel worse and they feel good because they insulted a person because they have very low self-esteem. Any man that tells you that you need to settle means that they don't love themselves. I fully agree that you should not settle. Work on your discourse. Put it together, and that's a class act. I fully believe that all of you women can get men within the next 6 to 18 months. Enough time to practice, enough time to go some places, enough time to ask a guy who's cute for directions. See what I mean? Women, you can do so many things. Just approach your guy for direction. Boom! So you're set in lots of ways. I hope what I said was of help. I hope y'all know that I'm saying don't set what you need to be some 10 out of 10 guy because those guys aren't 10 out of 10. Leonardo DiCaprio, who's often called a 10, he's 55, but he's still not married, and he's always dating a girl who's 22 to 25. And that's fine for him. I wouldn't like that. I don't want to be in a short-term relationship all the time that has no future because I value women and I value my future, and I like to be able to sleep in the bed with the person that I like being with. I like having that extra saucy sex with a woman that I care about and I think she's sexy. That's what you want. So this is RX, or Women Dating Tips for now and the future. I hope you liked what I said. If you don't, or you do, please go down to my messages and send me a message. I'd love to hear what y'all have to say because we all got to get together. We need to eradicate red pill. That is not representative of most men at all. It's just nonsense for guys who have no self-esteem and they're embarrassed to be themselves. And also MGTOW, we want to get rid of MGTOW because that's also more nonsense. If I had a child son and he was a red pill and MGTOW person, I'd say, how do you expect to get a family? How do you expect to get better at talking to people? How do you expect to get anything done with your life if you're trying to box out half of the population? And most likely, I think half of the population that you find pretty sexy. So anyway, keep on listening to Women's RX. This is Tyler Heavens. Out.
Everybody, this is Tyler Heavens. Subscribing, commenting, and viewing the Women's RX channel is the only way to spread the word and provide better content. Please hit the like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.